all made out of kauri. They're all over 160 years old, and they started coming here to the village in the late 1970s, and then we opened our doors to the public in 1980. So the people who used to live in these cottages, their story starts in 1840, and that's when the Treaty of Waitangi was signed by the Maori who lived here and the English who were starting to come and live here. But some of the Maoris up north weren't happy that the English were coming here, and that was of concern to Governor George Grey. He could feel a war brewing. Then he was worried 5 years later, in 1845, by the French. They'd taken over New Caledonia and Tahiti by force, so Governor Grey thought that the French may jump in their sailing ships, head down the Pacific and take us over by force as well. So he wrote back to England, to Queen Victoria and to Earl Grey to ask for help, and their solution was to send out retired soldiers. And these men would form a home guard known as the Royal New Zealand Fencible Corps. And we don't use the word fencible any longer, but it means able to defend. So the criteria to come was the soldiers be no more than 48 years of age, and they would have good skills and be of sound character. And the deal offered to them was that they'd have their passage paid for their whole family on board ship, and when they got here, they'd be given a cottage and an acre of land. So 10 sailing ships came here between 1847 through to 1852. And it was a long, hard journey. It took anywhere between 4 and 6 months for the ships to get here. And it was hard going because there wasn't a lot of fresh food or water, and many people didn't make it. But about 2,500 men, women and children did get here. It was the biggest immigration scheme of the time. And when they arrived, they were settled in 4 different locations around Auckland. Some went to Onehunga, some went to Otahu, a lot of Irish went to Panmure, and a lot of English came out here to Howick. So Howick was the biggest of the 4 settlements. So the people who were destined to come to Howick, they arrived in Auckland Harbour and they were put on a brig, a smaller ship. And they sailed out round the coast all the way out to Howick Beach, which is about 10 minutes driving your car that way. And when they arrived on the beach, expecting to see a cottage and an acre of land, because that's what they'd been promised, they were sadly let down because nobody built any cottages, nobody cleared any land. So, number 1 on your map is the military tent. And that's how they had to start, by living in military tents and 2 long sheds on Howick Beach. And then number 2 is the Raupo hut. That's what came next, and they lived in those about 2 or 3 years before they actually got their wooden cottages. So we'll poke our nose out there and I'll point the different ranks and how they, the cottages that they lived in. But the good news is that these men never actually had to fight anyone, because the 2 situations that Governor Grey had worried about, military attack a Maori attack or the invasion by the French, it never happened. So they lived in peace and just turned up for military parade, and if they did that, they got to keep their cottage and retain the pension they were paid 4 times a year. Yeah, and many of them actually doubled their life expectancy by coming here and lived to their 70s and 80s. And people didn't do that back home in England and Ireland at that time in history. You were lucky to see the age of 50.